Hello and welcome to the Ask Dr. Joanne show. I am your host, Dr. Joanne Frederick. Today we have a special guest for you. Bring our special guest in. Let's talk to her right quick. Hi, Pastor K.
Hey, Dr. J, how you doing?
I'm well, and how are you?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for being here with us.
My
I
pleasure.
was
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Our special guest, her name is Pastor K, and she is one of the contributing authors to the book entitled Copeology. We're going to get to know Pastor K a little bit closer tonight. And so, my first question I have for you is Pastor K, that name. Tell us what that name represents. Where'd you get it from?
Well, Pastor K represents exactly who I am. So my name is Kristen Simpson. Pastor K for short. I am a pastor. I've been pastoring for nearly over 15 years now. We're in ministry for over 15 years. Pastoring officially since 2012. Um, so Pastor K is just a nickname that many of the congregants have given me. Some gave it to me because they couldn't pronounce my first name properly, and two, because it was just something really catchy and easy, and I like it. So Pastor K is who I am, and pastoring is what I do.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. I was speaking to a couple of female pastors, and I was telling them that we don't see enough African American female pastors. So it's good to
Mm,
have you here representing tonight.
thank you. It's good to be a part of those who can represent and represent accordingly. Because there are a lot out here, but not all are representing the right way. So just to be able to be called by God is an honor. So I'm excited to be here and share a bit of my journey with you guys.
Definitely. And every time I hear you speak, it's captivating for me. I just
Oh,
listen. And so we're gonna talk about Copeology a little bit. I'm gonna move into that. And
okay.
one of the things about Copeology, I think I have it with me right here. Let me just show it to our audience so they know what we're talking
Yes.
about, right? So,
Yes, ma'am.
Copeology is an anthology, which means it's made up of short stories, but it's by me and friends. And the friends are seven other authors that are connected to me in some way. And you're one of those people that was invited to be a
Yeah.
part of this project. Tell us what that was like, the invitation and even the process that you went along in this journey to put your entry in.
Well, the invitation, I was honored. I'll admit at first I was hesitant only because I was literally just coming to the ending of the journey that I talk about in the story. And so I had just began to share a little bit on social media, a bit at a time as God permitted. And so I was actually still going through that process, which was a very intense process at the time. When you reached out to me with the invitation. So, first, thank you for the invite because it really pushed me to focus on this from a different perspective, even while in the middle of what I was going through. It gave me a coping mechanism while I was going through it to be able to see the brighter side of the pain that I was enduring at that time. So it really helped me to narrow in a bit and see God in the whole thing and to see how that journey wasn't just for me. Even though it was me going through it, it wasn't just for me. So you helped to really change my perspective while going through something that was really difficult for me at that time.
That is so cool. Thank you. I'm glad I was a positive part of that journey.
Absolutely.
A couple things you talk about just now, you just mentioned like the mental health of it. But as a mental health therapist, that was my purpose for us coming together and create Copology for people who can't afford therapy. And afford means not just financially, but just the
Hmm.
mental toll it takes to even be in therapy and even the time that it takes.
Right.
When I read your entry, like everyone else's, it was like journaling, right? Which I can see
Yes,
is very therapeutic. It's a tool that we
absolutely.
use.
Yes, absolutely. It was. And like I said, prior to focusing on writing my entry for Copeology, I had started doing tidbits on social media. So that was therapeutic because as I was sharing certain things, people's responses were showing me that my writing wasn't in vain. Even though it was helping me, it was still allowing others to share their journey, their story. And even though I was focusing on one particular area, other people said that when they heard my story or the tidbits from it, it allowed them to see how coping is necessary in a variety of different areas of their lives, not just health or wealth or family, but coping is necessary in almost every aspect of our lives because we're going to face challenges in every area at some point in time. And so it was very therapeutic to say the least.
Yeah, that is so true. When I read your entry, and I love the shirt you're wearing because that is the name of her entry. Audience is survivor's guilt. And one of the
Yes.
things that I could say is even reading it today, how helpful it's been to me. But as you know, I've been on a variety of podcasts and news channels and just stuff. And survivor's guilt come up. But what comes up about it is um the trauma that
Yes.
people's been through and the survivor's guilt. So it was just kind of interesting again how the story in the book was written to help people, but it could be applied in a variety of people's
Hmm.
individual stories.
Yes, absolutely. And so I've learned that survivor's guilt is really a hot topic, a hot feeling, a hot reality, unfortunately, for a lot of people. And I'm just so grateful to God that I didn't stay at the place of guilt. But as you can see, survivor's guilt is the way it started, the way I felt throughout the process. But gratitude is where I landed. So going from guilt to gratitude is truly the extension of the journey. The journey itself made me land at a place of guilt, but pressing through it. And like I said, you and this project and a lot of others who have reached out to me as a result of me sharing has really helped turn this guilt into gratitude. And ultimately, I give God the glory for keeping me through all that I had to go through to get to the place of just being grateful that I survived.
That is so true. And I got to add that your story was definitely relevant to today's world, right? We're living through and in a pandemic. We're living through and, seeing a lot of loss and grief and trauma. It was
Yeah.
definitely relevant. And now, we're talking about you right now as an author, right? And a
Hmm.
person who experienced some things, the survivor's guilt. But you also mentioned you being a pastor, but
Yeah.
you also wear a lot of other hats. Talk to us about what else can you do? Do you do?
Well, so the primary thing is one of my greatest passions, in addition to pastoring and preaching and ministering the gospel, is photography. So I'm a professional photographer, videographer. I'm a professional African drummer, which is a great passion of mine, something I started when I was 4. So I teach drumming. What else do I do? It's so many different hats. I am I'm an entrepreneur overall, but I help other people start their businesses. I do graphic and designs. Um, so the shirt that I have on, I did the graphics for that. I'm a 2-time author now, thanks to you, Dr. J. So I do have another book that's out and has been out for years. So I'm thankful for the push even in this because I've been procrastinating with writing. That's just a sidebar. But
Mhm.
I do hair. It's just a lot. I'm a one-stop shop, and the name of the business is Crisco Enterprises LLC, and we are a business of many hats. So we do event planning, event decor. We do wedding coordinating, event coordinating. So just you name it, we pretty much do it all. We have a residential cleaning service and all of that. So it's a lot. But if you just check us out online, pretty much whatever you need, we got it covered.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here writing down a list of things because I didn't know some of those, and I must say that I'm a proud client,
Yes,
photography and some other things we're working on. So I appreciate that.
absolutely.
As a
Thank
matter
you.
of fact, as you was talking about photography, I was thinking two things. One, when the Ask DrJoanne show starts, there's a couple of pictures that you and your crew took. You
Yes,
remember that? I think one is
absolutely.
wearing a green dress and I'm pointing up to the sky. That was like my first pandemic, like have a good time outdoors scenario. You remember that?
Yes, and you came alive in a way I'd never seen before. So that's just proof that even doctors, counselors, pastors, everybody. There is an expression that's often bottled up inside of us where we just want to be free, let our head down, have fun, and it's clean fun. A photo shoot that really brought out something in you. So I remember your reaction to just being out there that day after we had been kind of locked into the house for a while, just coming out for fresh air and having a good time taking pictures. So thank you again for being a supporter of Crisco Enterprises. And again, as I shared with you in the beginning, watching your journey and how you've evolved with your YouTube channel and everything that you have going on, I'm just excited to see what you're doing and to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Then another thing I just learned about you. So y'all do hair within the enterprise now? Because let me
Yes.
what kind
So
of
look, you and I
hairstyles
both,
y'all
we're locked. I call it locked and loaded. We're locked. So I do natural hair, lock maintenance and styling and all of that kind of stuff. So
do?
yeah.
I never knew that. That is so
Yes.
cool.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
hair is a big thing to me, hair and beauty. So one of my fans, my favorite fan, her name is Jeanette, and that's my mother and my dad.
Oh,
So my mom is gonna watch this. So I gotta share this story. I was literally born and raised in a beauty salon. So
wow.
my mother, my parents, we owned a beauty salon in Brooklyn, New York, and everything is about hair, different styles. And throughout, the years, every style that came out, I was the test. Very curl braids, locks, anything. And so I'm really into hair a lot and beauty and fashion. And so when you said y'all do hair, I was like, oh, hair, oh, sure, let me write that down. I have to contact
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. I love your locks anyways. That's important. That's our crown. We got to keep it up.
Yes, yes, definitely. That
So,
is so cool. And
absolutely.
then, so, all right, tell us some more about yourself.
Wow. So some more about me. There's a lot to me, but primarily good stuff. So, I am number 6 of 9 children. I'm born in the DC area, brought up in the DMV, Maryland raised. A graduate of Friendly High School here in Fort Washington, Maryland. Um, I have a wonderful and amazing family, come from great parents, brought up in the church. I have another testimony where God really just kept his hand on me after going through a lot at an early age. When we're talking about coping, there's so much more that can be added to the stories that we tell in life. And so I was brought up in the church, but not too long into my youth, my teenage years. I was kind of pulled away from walking that straight and narrow path after being molested at the age of 15. And so that really had a major impact on my life, where things kind of took a sideways turn for about 7 years. The woman who actually molested me kept a hold on me for about 7 years. And so a lot of what I share, a lot of what I tell, especially in settings like this, is just showing how God is real. It doesn't matter what people think or feel. I could be focusing on the negative and all that has happened to me in my life in that span. But I just choose to thank God for how he has kept me through all that I've been through. And 7 years of my life put a real dent in my childhood into my early adulthood life. And so in that, I have just chosen to see the gratitude part here, and to just allow God to heal me, to show me ways to cope. My faith has kept me strong. And I talk about that right after my upbringing, because I believe it was my parents' prayers that kept me throughout those years, and that didn't allow me to commit suicide when I tried, and that, brought me back home even when I left the house before the age of 18. I graduated on time. God has really been merciful and favorable in my life. And so in that, my upbringing has been phenomenal. A lot of times you hear these kind of stories when you didn't have a 2-parent home, or things weren't good at home, but I come from a phenomenal family who has supported me, like you were just sharing about your mom being your number one supporter. My mom's going to watch this, my parents on Sunday too, so I'm looking forward to this. But I'm just thankful for that upbringing and the big family that I have, because they were very supportive, even while not always understanding the journey that I was on. But I'm grateful for all that I had to go through, because now, as you can see, being a pastor and entrepreneur, my biggest thing and attribute about myself, which can sometimes play as a weakness, is my heart. I believe I have a heart for people. I have a passion for people, helping them, whether in business or ministry, just encouraging them overall. And so that's the highlight about me. I love people. I love opportunities to talk about God, to talk about coping, to talk about my faith and my journey. So, to put a stamp on it, I would say that's pretty much in a nutshell who I am: a lover of people, a lover of God, and just a servant overall. So I'm grateful.
That is amazing. Thank you for your transparency. This is what helps. Copeology is a book to heal people. And even some of the topics you just talked on, we have that in there. One of the things about Copeology that's important for people to know and understand, it is about spirituality and using
Yeah,
your spirituality to cope. And we talk about that in every story in some kind of way. And as a matter of fact, my entry, which is the last one, is called The Power of Prayer. And so you
mhm,
just touched on that as well,
yeah,
like how that could get you through even the toughest of
yeah,
times, but also support from family. So I really
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So my last question, really general, hear your thoughts on this. I'm gonna ask you about politics, and I'm
Okay.
specifically going to ask you about the war in Ukraine, because as I work with people, in large settings and one-on-one, that comes up. But it comes up, I notice, only with a particular population. And the population I'm referring to are mostly white Americans. I don't really hear a lot of people of color, African Americans, talk about this war and how they feel and the impact. So I thought it would have been a good opportunity to hear from your perspective. What do you think about the war in Ukraine?
This is a big question because I have a lot of thoughts about it. As I was sharing with you before, when the war actually started or becoming a public topic, I was actually on my honeymoon. So I spent some time coming off of the honeymoon and getting a little caught up with what's going on. But I shared that even to say that the war, even in the scriptures, Ecclesiastes 3 says there's a time for war and there's a time for peace. Some things are inevitable. We definitely know that we all want peace. World peace is a big factor of what we desire: peace in our homes, peace everywhere. However, I've learned that war is sometimes necessary. While it's not something that we want to do, want to face, um, God allows certain things to happen. And so, with that being said, while we're yet in the middle of a war, the economy is being affected. So, of course, that's contributing to some stressors at home for certain people, where gas prices are going up, chicken is going up, everything is just shooting up. And so it's causing tension in certain areas. But what I know for certain is that God has not given us the spirit of fear. I pray, we're talking about the power of prayer. I pray for those who are actively involved in the war on both sides, because we're told to even pray for our enemies, to love even our enemies. And so my position with politics is just that I try not to be biased on either side. When you're talking about war, again, there's often a purpose that we're fighting for on both sides. So I really just try to take a stand of not being afraid, not being worried, knowing that God has us covered. Even with the economy shooting up, God is our provider. So all in all, I keep my faith strong, and I pray for everybody who feels anything otherwise where politics are concerned. That can be a really sensitive subject for certain people. Some are more vocal than others. Some people start hating other people when it comes to talking about hot topics like this. And so I try to take a firm but neutral stance when it comes to politics, because they can change at the drop of a dime. We can be moving in one direction today and another direction tomorrow. And so, overall, with this war with Ukraine, I'm just prayerful that all of our soldiers are protected. Everybody that's involved, they are protected, and that persons who are not directly involved in the war, that we keep our minds stayed on God, stayed on Christ, and because truly He keeps us in perfect peace. So I just pray that while we're going through a war, in this season and time of war, that we still hold on to the peace of God in the midst of it.
Definitely. Love it. Love it. So, what I'm hearing is within war, you talked about the humanity of it, right? Like there is a
Yes,
humanity that we have to keep in mind all across the board, that God puts in us. Does not put in us a spirit of fear. So don't be
right,
fearful. And
right.
then also, this is about diversity, inclusiveness. And
Yes,
that's what I heard. That's my takeaway. So I
yes,
appreciate you sharing that and sharing light for others to kind of think about it. Because again, it's a topic that I'm not hearing us talk about.
yes,
So we have to hear it from all angle. Um,
absolutely,
Thank you. Thank you. That even gives me some things to sit with as well. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
And in closing, let's see, what else do I have for you? Well, one, I want to remind the viewers to like, share, and subscribe to Ask Dr. Joanne. We have different topics that comes up. Any topic that you want, let us know, because this is what we're here to give information. The other thing is tell us, the audience, how can we find you?
So I'm pretty much on the top two. Well, TikTok is taking over. I'm gonna make my way to TikTok in a minute, but I'm on Facebook and Instagram for sure. You can always find me there at Pastor K Speaks. So it's at Pastor K Speaks on both. You can follow the hashtag Pastor K Speaks to see some of my posts. We were talking in the beginning about writing being therapeutic. So pretty much majority of my life, I've been a writer. When emails were the only thing we had, I was sending out blast emails. Now we have Facebook and Instagram. So I love posting inspirational posts on both. So you're more than welcome to join me on Facebook or Instagram at Pastor K Speaks.
Excellent. Thank you. We are looking forward to hearing more from you, seeing more from you, and reading more from you. So we appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being here tonight.
Thank you so much. And congratulations again to you, Dr. J, and to the friends that have been a part of this Copeology project. It's been an honor working with you guys, and I know it's more stuff to come. So I'm looking forward to everything that's attached to it. Thank you so much
More
for
stuff.
having me.
Yes, thank you. Oh, one more thing too. We do have a Copeology discussion tomorrow night via
Cool.
Zoom. So hopefully you're there. If you are, some of the people who would attend, they want to meet the authors and have
Yes.
questions and stuff. So I'll see you then.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so much, Dr. J. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you know the authors of that book, Copeology, they are doing it again. They're doing another Copeology discussion. It's going to be amazing. Wednesday, March 9th, 7 p.m. on Zoom. I can't wait. I hope to see you there.